a time. Oh, 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 oh. There will be a time. Oh, 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 oh. There will be a time.
Hey guys, and welcome on in to another episode, Getting Well with Terry and Friends, NHL, MLB, and CFL, trends and betting picks. Lots of sports to talk about today, and that's why originally I was going to not do a show today, but changed my mind, and with all the sports we have on today's slate, decided to do the show. So we will go through all three sports, starting with... we'll start with the MLB, like we usually do. But first, we'll take a look back at yesterday. And once again, not a good day. Not a good day yesterday. Royce Lewis over 1.5 bases, plus 115, and home run, all lost. He didn't get a hit yesterday in the game against Pittsburgh. Gunnar Henderson got a hit, but not multiple bases. So that was a loser. Ryan Mountcastle, over 1.5 bases, was a winner. He hit a home run, which is always nice when you have total bases props to see a home run hit. Ahmed Rosario, over 1.5 bases, plus 128, was a loser. He didn't get a hit, despite having really good numbers against Irvin in his career. One of my premium plays yesterday, Yankees money line, plus 108, was a tough loser. Losing in the 11th inning, going into extra innings, and the Yankees lose. A winning streak comes to an end, and a win by the Dodgers there. Cleveland money line, another heartbreaker. Cleveland had that game. They were tied, but obviously the far better team. They had every chance to win that game, but ended up having a bad bottom of the eighth, and that's all she wrote for that game. Jose Ramirez didn't get a hit, so no bases for him there. Stephen Kwan did not play, so his total bases was voided. Cincinnati moneyline premium play on the site yesterday, a nice winner there. 3-2 win by the Reds, but a win is a win. Tyler Stevenson over 1.5 bases, plus 120. A nice winner there. He hit a double at some point during the game. Spencer Steer, unfortunately, didn't cash. So he has gone cold. Hamilton money line against Calgary. Horrible game by Hamilton. Obviously, the 32-24 score makes it look a bit closer than it actually was. Hamilton just did not play good, did not play well at all. Their defense was absolutely horrible. And they were playing Calgary, who I have as the worst team in the league. I will say my CFL power rankings are going to have a major shakeup here after week one. And it's not overreacting to week one. It's just there's a lot of changes that need to be made. Tim White anytime touchdown. I think it was in the second quarter. Bo Levi Mitchell made a long pass to White in the end zone, and he dropped it. That should have been a catch, and really that could have changed the entire game, potentially the night, had he caught that pass. Bo Levi Mitchell over 245 passing yards was a winner. He got that in the fourth quarter. The good thing about being down in the fourth quarter is you're going to pass the ball. That's what he did. So a winner there. Tigats team total over 23.5. A winner there. Again, in that fourth quarter on the final touchdown, got the winner in that one. Hamilton defense to record a touchdown. Small quarter unit play was a loser. Had to give it a try there. And that takes us to the thank you play of the day. We do have one today. I didn't have one yesterday, partly because I didn't really feel like after yesterday's or the day before slate that there was anybody really that I wanted to thank. But there is somebody on yesterday's slate, and we will see who it is right now.
The DH. And hits this one high in the air to pretty deep left field. Cole Tucker back. He's near the wall. He'll jump. It's gone. 4 home runs in 4 games. Yainer Diaz continues to hit the long ball.
Hey, bartender, give me an extra shot of a Yainer bomb.
The DH.
Yainer Diaz got the home run yesterday, and of course, that was plus 450. Plus 450 there on that home run. So thank you, Yainer Diaz. That was a much needed home run yesterday. Alvarez, multiple hits, multiple RBIs, but no home run. Wasn't able to hit it out of the park, so a loser there. Zach Geloff didn't get a hit. Did not get a hit, so his hot streak comes to an end. And unfortunately, minus 3.27 units yesterday. It was another rough day. It was, but got to turn the page, move on to today, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Is look to today's slate, and we will start with the Major League Baseball. And the first game we're going to talk about is the first game of the day, which is happening in London. So, the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets playing in London, 1 p.m. Eastern start. Ranger Suarez on the mound for Philadelphia. He's been pretty much great all season long. That one loss in Colorado, gave up 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts in the loss. Only pitched in 2 innings in his last start, didn't give up anything, no hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts in his last game. And now he'll be looking to get back on track here against the Mets. Sean Manaea on the mound for New York. Starts against Miami and San Francisco, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk. A win against Miami, no decision against San Francisco in his last start. 6 hits, 5 earned runs against Arizona in the loss, 10 strikeouts. So he had a lot of strikeouts, but continues to be giving up 5 to 6 hits a game, 5 earned runs there in his last start. Back-to-back games, 3 games in a row now. He's given up a home run. So somebody has been getting a home run off him in recent starts. And looking at Philadelphia Phillies players, you're going to see right off the bat, we are taking Nick Castellanos. I like his hit for a parlay piece, home run for a quarter unit, and over 1.5 bases for a half unit. Why? Well, as you can see, he's got multiple bases in 6 of his last 7 games. So he's hitting the ball great heading into this game. Against Sean Manaea, he's 5 for 11 with a double and 2 home runs. So we will take Castellanos here in the first game to hit a bomb. And we'll cash 2 plays and then the parlay piece as well. Looking at the New York Mets, Mark Vientos does have some success against Ranger Suarez, but Ranger Suarez not a pitcher I really want to take props against. With Vientos, the only thing I could possibly look at would be the RBI. But like I said, when you've got Ranger Suarez or a pitcher that's pitching the way Ranger Suarez has this year, not a player I want to take player props against. Lindor, JT Martinez, decent numbers against him as well. Pete Alonso, who's been hitting the ball very well recently, 1 for 15 against Suarez. So won't be getting involved there. We will just be backing Nick Castellanos here to hit a home run and to get multiple bases, which he will do if he hits a home run. We'll move on to our second game here, and there's quite a few games on today's slate that I'm passing on, so don't be surprised to see some passes on today's slate. Obviously, I've got 3 plays in the hockey game and 4 in the CFL, so somewhat of a small MLB slate for me, but that's fine. Simeon Woods Richardson, 2-0, 3.05 ERA for the Minnesota Twins. Carmen Lazinski for the Pittsburgh Pirates, who has been pitching 1 inning in his recent starts. So an opener, most likely here. And then who will be the guy taking most of the innings here is supposed to be Luis Ortiz for the Pirates. So a bullpen day here. And yeah, no surprise. Going back to Royce Lewis just for the home run, a quarter unit in this game on the bullpen day against the Pirates. Let's see here. Lewis home run was plus 500. So, yeah, even though he didn't get a home run yesterday, we're going right back to him at plus 500. It's kind of a no-brainer here. So, small quarter unit play, plus 500. Royce Lewis to hit a home run in this game. And then we will look at the other players here. Carlos Santana has been hitting the ball pretty well recently for the Pirates. These are their 3 best hitters recently, but nobody's quite consistent enough for me to pull the trigger in this game. We will go back here, and then we'll go to the chat to see what people are saying here. Hello, Terry and friends. Hey, Addison. How's it going? How's it going? NHL's back. It kind of felt like the season was over with the break we had, and now it's back. So we'll have hockey, and then we'll have 2 days without, and then we'll have hockey, and then 2 days without, and then we'll have 3 days without, and it's just a lot of days without hockey coming up. Canada Cup, let's go Oilers, raise it, Canada. Well, we will obviously get to the NHL game after baseball, or I might do it after CFL. We'll see. But as you all know, I have a plus 1,000 ticket on the Florida Panthers to win the Cup, and I've got nothing on Edmonton. So you can probably guess what team I'm going to cheer for here, but we'll get to it later on. San Francisco Giants are facing the Texas Rangers here. Spencer Howard on the mound for the Giants. Andrew Heaney on the mound for Texas. In this game, it's a pass. No one I'm quite interested in taking here on San Francisco. You could potentially look at Daryl Estrada, but is he even going to be in the lineup? He's not an everyday player for the Giants, so hit or miss kind of when he's going to be in the lineup. Didn't have an announced pitcher yet, but that's all good. They haven't faced Howard, I don't believe. Seager, haven't heard official injury news on him, but he is dealing with something. So not going to take his props. And then Simeon Smith aren't quite consistent enough for me. So this game was an easy pass here. No play on the side. When it comes to premium plays today, you're getting both of my NHL premium plays. You're getting my MLB premium play and one of my CFL. So I'm only leaving one play on the site in the CFL, which you can purchase. Everything else I'm going to give out on today's show. So lots of free premiums coming. Good day, all. Glad you took Stevenson last night with the Mets. Yes, me too. Me too. Atlanta Braves are facing the Washington Nationals. Charlie Morton on the mound for Atlanta. Mackenzie Gore on the mound for the Nationals. Here, looking at players that are hot for the Atlanta Braves right now. The most distant hitter recently is Orlando Arcia. Well, he's 0 for 8 against Mackenzie Gore. Ozzie Albies, 4 for 10, a double and a home run. but only multiple bases in 6 of 13. So this Atlanta Braves offense last year was a team where you wanted to take their player props on a daily basis. But this year, that's not the case. Their offense is very inconsistent this season. When it comes to the Washington Nationals, CJ Abrams has had success against more than 3 for 7, 2 home runs, but hasn't been quite consistent enough recently. Jesse Winker, multiple bases in 4 or 5 hits in 5 games in a row. He's 2 for 5 against Morton, so you can potentially look at Winker here, but not going to pull the trigger on anything in this game. Really want to be really confident in my MLB player props right now before pulling the trigger on any. So any ones that are kind of leans are just staying off. Typical Toronto letdown yesterday. Yep, I pretty much said after back-to-back wins against the Orioles, it would make total sense for the Jays to go and lose to the A's, which is exactly what happened. Baltimore bounced back today. Yes, please. We shall see. We shall see. Segue into the Toronto Blue Jays staying in Oakland to face the Athletics. Kevin Gausman on the mound for Toronto. Luis Medina on the mound for Oakland. Medina has made 1 start against the Atlanta Braves. 5.2 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So after a rough season last year, he got off to a great first start against the Atlanta Braves. Now he's facing the Blue Jays. Kevin Gausman on the mound. Toronto likely huge favorites in this game. And minus 156. Wow. Okay. Kind of surprised there. They're only minus 156 with Gausman on the mound, but they shouldn't be minus 200 like I kind of expected them to be priced. So maybe they're kind of being priced a little bit more realistic here. Ultimately, don't trust Toronto. Don't want to necessarily fade Kevin Gausman in this spot. So ultimately, this game is another pass. Player props. Vladdy has been good for the Jays. He has been one of the players that has been good. Not going to take his props ultimately. Springer has good numbers against Medina. And then for the Athletics, Blade hit the winning home run in yesterday's game. He's starting to heat up again. Giloff, nothing yesterday, but he has been pretty hot recently. Ultimately, we're going to stay off here again. Varsho, Springer, Vladdy. Yeah, you could look at Springer and Vladdy, but ultimately not for me. Milwaukee Brewers heading to Detroit to face the Tigers. Milwaukee getting a much-needed win yesterday with some offense that kind of disappeared recently. Freddie Peralta on the mound for Milwaukee, 4-3 with a 3.74 ERA on the season. After a really rough go there, he's kind of turned things around. Getting the win in his last start against the White Sox. Did give up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, but was very good against the Cubs before that. 3 hits, 1 earned run, 11 strikeouts, and then 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts against Miami before that. So hasn't necessarily been facing the strongest of offenses, but Detroit is definitely not one of the strongest offenses either. Casey Mize on the mound for Detroit, and it's been a bit of a rough go for him. 1-3 with a 4.7 ERA and 11 starts in the season, but 0-3 in his last 7 with a 5.85 ERA. Has had some rough games recently. Ultimately, nobody on Milwaukee is consistent enough recently for me to pull the trigger. So no Milwaukee props and no Detroit props. Only 4 players on the spreadsheet for these two teams because not a lot of teams are hitting consistently. And when you are a trends and a streak better, especially for player props and no one's hitting consistently, you're going to pass. And yeah, that's exactly what I recommend doing with this game. But don't worry, we do have some plays. There are some MLB plays to talk about. Boston Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox finally breaking their losing streak yesterday, so they needed that win. 16-48 on the season, though a rough year for the White Sox. Red Sox will be starting Brayan Bello here. 6-2 with a 4.36 ERA in the season. No decision in his last game against Detroit. 8 hits, 4 earned runs, and 3 walks. Back-to-back wins prior to that: 4 hits, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 2 walks. He's walking too many guys, and he's giving up hits, and he's giving up runs in recent starts. So Brayan Bello starting to come down a bit to earth here in recent starts. And then for the White Sox, it's Nick Nastrini, who is 0-5 with a 9.74 ERA in 5 starts this season. 3 losses in a row. Milwaukee, back-to-back losses against Toronto. He has just not pitched well at all. And in fact, all 5, not just 3 losses in a row, he's made 5 starts and he's 0-5. So he's just been absolutely awful. And looking at it, I consider Jarren Duran. I believe his prop was -110 or -115 for over 1.5 bases. Didn't ended up pulling the trigger. There are Boston Red Sox players that are hitting well right now, but ultimately didn't get to anything here. I do lean with Duran, though. I do lean with Duran. Just kind of wish it was plus money. And then the White Sox, Luis Robert Jr. with the home run yesterday. He's looking to get traded, posting something on Twitter saying, be patient, good things are coming soon, with the pray emoji. So, yeah, that's kind of saying that he really, really wants to be traded, but who could blame him being on this White Sox roster? Ultimately, this game's a pass, but I would lean towards Jarren Duran here in this one. Crochet 7 plus Ks, parlay with Lance Lynn plus 5 Ks at plus 100. Hit yesterday. Yay. Nice, nice. But we'll move on along to our next game here between the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals. In this one, of course, what a exciting game yesterday. The Royals coming down, I believe it was 8-0. From what I saw is that at one point their live money line, I think, was around plus 5,000. So the Royals were not supposed to come back, but that's exactly what they did in the 10-9 comeback, if I am correct. Yeah, 10-9 Kansas City Royal win. And now Luis Castillo on the mound for the Mariners, Alec Marsh on the mound for the Royals. And Marsh has not played well recently. Got the win against Detroit, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks over 6 innings. Lost to Minnesota, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, and then lost to San Diego, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. And he's been walking guys, 2 to 3 walks in his most recent starts as well. So doesn't really spell confidence here for the Royals. Luis Castillo, 5-6 on the year with a 2.99 ERA. Coming off a great game against the Angels, 2 hits, no runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts in the win, pitching 7 innings. Looking at this game, Seattle -124 kind of does seem a little bit appealing here. I don't trust the Seattle Mariners offense, but I don't trust Alec Marsh either right now. So it's going to be the struggling offense against the struggling pitcher. We'll see who finishes out on top here. Julio Rodriguez, 6 for 9 against Marsh with the home run. So you could potentially look at him here. Ty France, 2 for 4 with the home run. JP Crawford, over 3. None of these guys have been consistent enough recently for me to want to pull the trigger. Royals props. Hunter Renfroe, 4 for 20, a double, 2 home runs. Overall, not a lot of guys have had success against Luis Castillo. Bobby Witt Jr., 1 for 10 with a single. So no interest there in this game. Another pass here. Duran, over 1.5 total bases minus 110 is a great parlay piece. I don't know if I would use it as maybe a two-teamer, but I don't know if I'd use that as a parlay piece. But when it got down, KC came back. Glad I wasn't on Seattle. Baltimore Orioles are facing the Tampa Bay Rays. Kyle Bradish on the mound for the Orioles. Taj Bradley on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. Bradley, 1-3 with a 5.81 ERA and 5 starts. Coming off a loss against this Baltimore Orioles team, where he went 3.1 innings, gave up 9 hits and 9 earned runs, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. He gave up 4 home runs to the Orioles in that start. So an absolutely awful start. Had a good start before that against Kansas City, but his 2 previous starts against Boston, 2 home runs, 1 home run. So he has been susceptible to getting hit for home runs, especially against this Orioles team. And now this Orioles team is back to face him again. Looking at player props here, we're going with Mountcastle. He's 2 for 2 against Bradley, both hits homers. Can he go 3 for 3 with 3 homers and hit a home run in the early part of the game? I would really appreciate that. But I'll take a home run later on as well, whatever he wants to do. Quarter unit on the home run, half unit on over 1.5 bases for Mountcastle. And then nothing for Tampa Bay. Would lean Brandon Lowe, but he's hardly ever in the lineup, so we'll stay off his props here in this one. Mountcastle, Santander, Rutschman are on fuego. Yeah, they're doing well. But we will go on along to our next game, the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. And this is my MLB premium play of the day that I'm giving out. Only one MLB play today, and we are taking the Reds. We are taking the Reds money line here. Why? Well, because these teams are going in completely different directions recently. Let me bring it up here. The Cincinnati Reds, they have won 11 of their last 14 games. They've won 6 games in a row. And they were in dead last in their division a few days ago. Now they're in second. So they've been moving up with a 6-game win streak. Andrew Abbott on the mound for them. He's given up 3 or fewer runs in 5 of his last 6 starts. Gave up 3 runs in his last start in Colorado, but that's nothing to be ashamed about. Giving up 3 runs in Colorado. So not bad from him there. For Chicago is is Ben Brown, who is off a rough loss against the Cincinnati team, where he gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs over 5 innings in the loss. The Cubs have lost 11 of their last 15. 13-20 on the road, and they are just heading in the wrong direction. Andrew Abbott, he is going to be a very good pitcher for this Cincinnati Reds team. A lot of potential pick, but he has a ton of potential here. I want to back him against this Cubs team that is not doing well. So we'll take Cincinnati money line. And then when it comes to player props, we'll take TJ Friedel over 1.5 bases for a half unit, Ellie De La Cruz over 1.5 bases for a half unit, and back to Tyler Stevenson over 1.5 bases for a half unit. Friedel 1 for 3 with the home run against Brown. Ellie 0 for 3, but I feel like that's going to change here. And then Tyler Stevenson 1 for 2. Cashed for us yesterday. 8-game hit streak, multiple bases, and 4 or 5. We'll take him here against Ben Brown in this game. Paredes, anytime hit. All right. Best of luck. But we will move on along to our next game, which is the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals here in this one. Ryan Feltner on the mound for Colorado. 1-5 with a 6.22 ERA in 12 starts, and wants to forget his last start against Cincinnati. 4.1 innings, 10 hits, 8 earned runs. Previous to that against Cleveland, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. It has been a rough go for him. And yes, he is worse at home, which shouldn't be a surprise, pitching in Colorado. 0-1 with a 7.30 ERA in 5 starts. But he hasn't had success on the road either. 1-4 with a 5.54 ERA in 7 starts. So ERA is a bit lower, but it's still pretty awful for a major league pitcher. And then for the St. Louis Cardinals here on the mound is Kyle Gibson. 4-2 with a 3.69 ERA on the season, 12 starts. Hasn't been bad at all for the St. Louis Cardinals. Ultimately, in this game, we're going to take Alec Burleson over 1.5 bases, which he's done in 5 of his last 6 games. And that's it. That is it. I'm not going to go too big here in this game, but Burleson hitting the ball very well. Feltner is just not good at all. So like him to get a double at some point here. Ellie De La Cruz day today. Sounds good to me. Clear Dime likes under 9 in the Cubs and Reds game, or this one. I'd be a little bit scared about going with under 9 in this one myself, but cash the no-run first inning lottery with the Marlins game. Hey, very nice. Very nice. But we will continue on along. I think we've got a couple games left. LA Dodgers and the New York Yankees here in this game. Yeah, 2 more games after this. Gavin Stone on the mound, for hockey at least. For the Dodgers, Nestor Cortez on the mound for the Yankees. And this was an easy pass here. Dodgers players, obviously this game went to extra innings 0-0 yesterday. Dodgers bats have not been super hot recently. Will Smith against a lefty is tempting, but 0 for 1 against Cortez, that's obviously extremely small sample size. But if you wanted a Dodgers player, I would recommend Will Smith. For the Yankees, could maybe look at Judge over 1.5 bases. That's the only thing I would really consider here. Ultimately, not interested in this game. After such a low scoring game yesterday, I could see the bats getting going here today, but then again, this game could spell another under. Yeah, the Cubs Reds. Okay. Yeah. I would not go with under in the last game we talked about, but that's all good. I would maybe lean under with the Reds game, but kind of hoping the Reds can score at least for my player props bet. Actually, we have a few games left, not just 2. Cleveland Guardians, Miami Marlins. Ben Lively on the mound for the Guardians. Roderick Munoz on the mound for Miami. Munoz coming off a very rough start in LA against the Dodgers. 7 hits, 6 earned runs, and 4 walks in the loss in 4.2 innings. Now facing this Cleveland Guardians team who totally let me down yesterday. I can't believe they lost that game against this Marlins team. And when I looked at the price minus 105 when it opened, it looked like a trap. It really did. And I said, you know what? I'm taking it anyway. And I'm not going to say it was a trap because it was a very close game. That's how it ended. But the Guardians, come on, you got to find a way to beat this Miami Marlins team. Looking at it, player props wise, the offense is starting to cool off for the Guardians, so we're going to stay off their props, and we're going to stay off the Miami props as well. So this game is a pass. If Stephen Kwan is playing, I could potentially look at him, but ultimately, going to pass. Arizona Diamondbacks and the San Diego Padres. Ryan Nelson on the mound for the Diamondbacks. Matt Waldron on the mound for San Diego. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has been playing very well recently. Multiple bases in 5 of 6, an RBI in 5 of 6. Only 1 for 3 against Waldron. Ketel Marte got a home run yesterday. He's 1 for 3 against Waldron with the home run. Maybe Marte gets another homer. Ultimately didn't pull the trigger on any Diamondbacks props, but would lean with Gurriel. Depending on how the day goes, I may look at this game later on tonight. And we may look at Gurriel props. For the Padres, Tatis has been doing very well recently. Multiple bases in 7 of 8. 3 for 8 with a double against Nelson, so maybe Tatis is worth a look as well. Some leans here in this game for me, but nothing that I pulled the trigger on at this point. So if I get to anything, I will post on Twitter. I'll post whatever I'm adding. No Kwan yesterday was heartbreak. Yeah. So glad I stayed away. Guardians, Boston, Texas were all traps. There you go. Timothy is a Cleveland fan since 1970. I don't bet on them because they always let me down. Yeah, they've had a great season so far. You can't complain at all about the season they've had so far. So, as a Cleveland fan, they should have exceeded your expectations because I didn't expect them to be as good as they have been this year. So, see if they can keep it going. Final game of the night here. Houston Astros are facing the LA Angels. Hunter Brown on the mound for the Astros, 1-5 with a 6.18 ERA. Tyler Anderson, 5-5 with a 2.37 ERA for the Angels. 3 starts in a row, 1 earned run allowed for Anderson. He just doesn't give up a lot of runs. Now, looking at Anderson's previous games here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of his last 10 starts, he's given up at least 1 home run. So he has been giving up home runs, obviously not a lot, but the little bit of offense he is allowing is on the home run. Looking at it here, you could look at Alex Bregman, who I do lean with here. 4 for 13, 2 doubles, 2 home runs. Struggles against lefties overall, but has had some success against Anderson. Yanier Diaz, who we just cashed plus 450 yesterday. We're going right back to him here. Yes, he's 0 for 3 against Anderson, but Diaz is hitting the ball very, very well right now. A home run in 4 games in a row. So we'll go back to him for a home run for a quarter unit. And that's it here. Zach Neto playing well for the Angels, but ultimately not getting to anything. Houston lost 2 starting pitchers for the rest of the season, just like Baltimore did. So pitchers, and then we've really seen a lot of pitching injuries this year. Reminds me kind of the CFL with quarterbacks last year, because we've seen a lot of starting pitcher injuries around baseball. Houston, definitely a team that I'm going to look at for player props against going forward. I think the Astros are going to be a fade team. I've pretty much been fading them most of the year so far. I think they're going to continue to be a team I want to fade. Not going to fade them in this spot exactly, but we'll look at them in other spots. Lean over 8 here. I could see that for sure. I could. Yankees were dogs at home yesterday, and they rightfully lost according to the line. Today, they're minus 125. And they can go lose again. I really don't care. Screw the Yankees. No, I'm kidding. But as a Blue Jays fan, obviously I'm not a Yankees fan, but did kind of enjoy making some money on them. But now, screw them. Just realized I wasn't in the baseball screen that whole time. I apologize. But we will go on to the CFL and then we'll do the hockey last. We'll do the hockey last. Here, Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Edmonton Elks here in this one. Starting off right off the bat, my premium play available on the site. 2 premium plays. I'm giving you my side play. We're taking Saskatchewan. I got them plus 2.5 here in this one. My total play is available on the site. So you can go get that, picksandparlays.net. Every other premium play I'm giving out today. So if you want to purchase one of my plays, I really do like the total in this game, which is available on the site. Looking at previous games between these teams, Saskatchewan 9-2 in the last 11. They've covered plus 2.5 in 10 of the last 11 meetings. This Edmonton Elks team has been god awful for a long time. Now, last year, things started to look up a little bit. So when they made a change at quarterback and brought in Trey Ford. But then now in the offseason, they went and signed journeyman quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson to kind of help out here at quarterback. He's going to be the starter in this game. And a better passer than Trey Ford, but kind of wanted to see Ford potentially get the reins here if you're an Edmonton fan. He is one of the reasons why they did start to play better last year. And Edmonton finished last year 4-14. And Saskatchewan 6-12. For the Saskatchewan team, the most important thing is keeping this guy healthy, Trevor Harris, at quarterback. Getting up there in age, but it's still a very good quarterback for the Rough Riders, and they need to keep him healthy. Good news is he's healthy to start the season, so that's great news for them. McLeod Bethel Thompson, who we kind of talked about earlier, making his return to the CFL as starting quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. Kind of want to see how he does. Not getting to either players' passing props yet. Not in this game, at least. We'll take a look at them in future games. But I do have one player prop, and that is AJ Ouellette over 74.5 rushing yards here in this game. Edmonton, both of these teams improved on offense in the offseason. Both teams still have defensive issues. Specifically, this Elks team, dead last in the CFL last year in rushing yards allowed. They gave up, on average, 136.6 rushing yards per game. So a ton of rushing yards allowed. And now they get to face, in my opinion, the second best running back in the league in AJ Ouellette. So I like him over 74.5 rushing yards. We saw both running backs yesterday in the Hamilton-Calgary game have great nights. And I'm looking at Ouellette to have a great night here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Their wide receivers, obviously, subject to change depending on how guys do throughout the season. Next week, we'll have more stats, obviously, because nobody's played, so there's no stats here for this season. But those are some of the wide receivers I'd look at for the Rough Riders. And then for Edmonton, Trey Ford is quarterback 2. Most likely going to see him if they're close in the red zone. Most likely we'll see Trey Ford out there trying to get a touchdown. Saw his touchdown prop at around minus 140, which is just not anything I really do want to look at here. Now, Bet365 yesterday had a much better player props are available at Bet365 now, but not touchdowns yet. Depending on what the price looks like for Trey Ford, I may look at him for a touchdown here in this game. Kevin Brown, wide receiver for the Elks, and then wide receivers. They went and added Curly Giddens Jr. In a trade in the offseason to try to improve their offense, and then signed Javon Leake as punt returner. Some really great games from him last year. So you're going to want to be careful when he's got the ball and make sure he doesn't run through everyone and get a touchdown. So ultimately in this game, we like Saskatchewan. We like Saskatchewan here, and then I do have a total play over on the site, which you can get. But now we will move on along to hockey, to the NHL here. Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals in this game. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I've got future bet on Florida. So I am rooting for Florida in this series. Both teams on 3-game win streaks to clinch a ticket here to the Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton under 5.5 in 5 of their last 7. Florida in 8 of their last 9. Both teams playing low-scoring hockey recently. Florida won both meetings against Edmonton this season, but all 5 of the last 5 meetings have all gone over the total. So we have seen higher scoring games in the past between these teams. However, we had seen a lot of high scoring games between Florida and the New York Rangers going back to 20 years or a long, long time, at least 10, 15 years. And that ended when these teams faced each other. Playoffs are a different animal, and both of these teams are dead nuts under teams right now. We're taking the under 5.5, which I pulled the trigger on, and we are on Florida money line, which I got for minus 135. Now I'm seeing, I think the best odds are minus 140. Now it's out of my price range at minus 140. Maybe you want to look at Florida in regulation at a better price, or if you're fine with playing minus 140, you could do that. But I do like the under here. And then I do have a player prop, even though I'm on the under. There is one player that is playing very, very well right now, and that is Sam Bennett for the Florida Panthers. He's got a point in 5 of his last 6 games, a goal in 3 games in a row. His goal player prop is a very great price, but his point prop is also a very decent price. I think I got it for plus 120 just to get a point in this game. So that is what we will do here is take Bennett for a point, Florida money line, and the under 5.5 here in this game. Just making sure everything is good to go here. Yes, okay. Get into the chat, and then we'll do the recap of today's games. I have a live future bet. Canada as a winning country, plus 275, plus 240. What would you suggest? For NHL? I don't know. I'm not a person who hedges or really cashes out, or so I don't really have any suggestions for you. My 2 hedges on my Florida future are Game 1 series, Florida Edmonton plus 390 and Edmonton Florida plus 430. Best of luck. I took bet anytime goal plus 420. I made D.2. Yeah, such a great price for his goal prop. For me, because I really do like the under in this game, um, I'm not going to go with the goal prop. If I like the over, then I'd be more willing to go with the goal prop because I would expect more goals. But in this game, where I could see this game finishing 2-1, the last thing I want is to take the goal prop and have Bennett assist. So because the point prop is plus 120, I pulled the trigger on that, and I'm happy with that. So Addison, consider game 1 series winner. Florida, Florida, or Edmonton, Florida. All right. Or maybe look at Florida live if Edmonton does win game 1. Obviously, I'm hoping they don't, but if they do, maybe look at Florida live to win the cup. But we will do a recap of all of today's plays here. Nick Castellanos, over half a home run, plus 420. Nick Castellanos, over 1.5 bases, plus 100. AJ Ouellette, over 74.5 rushing yards, 0.57 unit to win a half unit. Saskatchewan, plus 2.5, minus 115. Royce Lewis, home run, plus 500. Mountcastle, over 1.5 bases, minus 102. Mountcastle, home run, plus 450. Tyler Stevenson, over 1.5 bases, plus 155. Friedel, over 1.5 bases, plus 140. Ellie De La Cruz, over 1.5 bases, plus 130. Pretty good prices for all three of the total base props here. Cincinnati, minus 116. Premium play. Alec Burleson, over 1.5 bases, plus 115. Sam Bennett, over half a point, plus 120. Under 5.5, minus 102. Florida money line, minus 135. Yanier Diaz, over half a home run, plus 475 to finish off the slate. As I said, premium play available on the site is in the CFL total play. Premium plays for tomorrow will be available later on today, so you can get them tonight for tomorrow's slate. No show on Sunday. So we'll be back on Monday for another show. So check the spreadsheet in the description below for any player props that I may have on tomorrow's slate. Obviously, they'll be in the spreadsheet, and then premium plays available for purchase if you wish to do that. Great show. Thanks, Terry. No problem, Addison. Thanks for watching. Best luck to everyone on your bets today. Hoping to end the two-day losing streak here with a good day. So best of luck if you're tailing. Best of luck in your bets today. And we will see you guys all back here on Monday for another episode. Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. MLB, CFL, NHL, whatever it is. Trends and betting picks. Thanks for watching, guys.